My friend, hear this truth. No evil goes unnoticed by the Almighty. God's justice moves like a mighty river. No deception is unstoppable, unshakable, and no wound inflicted upon the children of God will be left unanswered. Though the narcissist may rise in arrogance, the narcissist believes they are beyond oppressing those around them, that their deception will remain hidden, that their cruelty will never catch up with them. The justice of God is not bound by human timelines or earthly measures of power. That their calculated actions will never be exposed with absolute authority. But the truth is this: every action is seen by the Almighty. Every injustice is recorded, every wound inflicted upon the innocent is remembered, and God in His perfect wisdom determines the moment when His justice will be revealed. Throughout history, time and time again, those who exalted themselves at the expense of others have faced an inevitable fall. The proud are brought low, the deceiver is unmasked, the oppressor becomes the one who is powerless. It is not by human intervention alone, but by the unseen hand of God orchestrating events in ways that no one can predict. What seems like random misfortune to the untrained eye is often the precise moment when God's justice begins to unfold. Consider the stories of those who built their empires on the suffering of others. Kings, rulers, and leaders who believed they were untouchable, who silenced their victims, who destroyed lives to maintain their own power. For a time, they reigned without consequence. But then, suddenly, their world unraveled. What they had built on lies began to crumble. The people they had manipulated turned against them. Their own arrogance led to their downfall. Because when God moves, He does so in a way that no one can escape. This is the certainty of divine justice. The narcissist will face the weight of what they have done. Not always in the way one might expect, not always in the time frame that human hearts desire, but in the exact way that God has ordained. The judgment of the Lord is not just about punishment. It is about the revelation of truth. It is about setting things right. And when that moment comes, no deception can withstand it. God is not indifferent. He does not turn away from the cries of the wounded. He does not ignore the suffering of those who have been wronged. Instead, He is patient, allowing time for repentance, giving space for change. But if the heart remains hardened, if the narcissist refuses to acknowledge their ways, if they persist in their destruction, then the reckoning comes. It is inevitable, and when it does, it is swift, undeniable, and final. No force on earth can stop the justice of God. No lie is powerful enough to suppress the truth forever. No scheme is so well crafted that it can escape the judgment of the one who sees all things. For the one who has been wronged, this is not just a source of comfort. It is a promise that nothing is forgotten, a promise that every tear shed, every pain endured, and every injustice suffered is seen and accounted for. The judgment of God is not distant. It is active, moving even when it is unseen, preparing to bring everything into alignment with His perfect will. When the narcissist believes they have won, when they assume they have escaped all consequences, that is often when the wheels of justice begin turning the fastest. What they think is a victory is often the first step toward their downfall. What appears to be their moment of triumph is, in reality, the moment where their deception begins to unravel. Because no matter how high they climb, no matter how strong they appear, they cannot escape the unshakable truth. God's justice is unstoppable. The narcissist thrives on their own sense of superiority. They believe they are above others, beyond reproach, and immune to consequences. Their pride is not just arrogance. It is a carefully constructed illusion that they are untouchable. They manipulate, deceive, and crush those around them without a second thought, assuming that their cunning will shield them from any fallout. But what they fail to understand is that no one who exalts themselves can escape the justice of God. When a person raises themselves above others through deceit, cruelty, and oppression, they are positioning themselves for a great fall. Pride is the downfall of the wicked. It is written that God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. The narcissist builds their world on deception, but all false foundations eventually crumble. What they see as their strength, their ability to manipulate, lie, and dominate, is the very thing that will lead to their destruction. They believe they are always one step ahead, always in control, always invincible, but their downfall is set in motion long before they even recognize it. It may not be immediate, but it is certain. When a person refuses to humble themselves, God will do it for them. And when he does, it is not done in secrecy, but in full view of those they once deceived. The narcissist, who works so hard to craft an image of power, success, and control, will see it all come undone before their eyes. The higher they climb, the harder they will fall. The stage they built to showcase their greatness will become the very place where their humiliation unfolds. The narcissist's own arrogance blinds them. They do not see the warning signs. They do not recognize that their actions are leading them to a place where God Himself will step in. They continue in their ways, thinking they are immune to consequences. But God allows them to walk deeper into their own trap. He allows them to build higher, to expand their reach, to feel invincible, so that when the fall comes, there is no mistaking that it is His hand at work. The fall of the narcissist is not always loud or immediate. Sometimes it is slow, unraveling piece by piece, until one day they look around and realize they have lost everything. Other times it happens suddenly. One moment they are standing tall, the next they are brought to their knees. But in every case, it is absolute. Their pride, which once fueled them, becomes their greatest weakness. Their arrogance, which they thought protected them, becomes the weight that drags them down. And when God moves, nothing can stop it. There is no escaping divine justice. The narcissist may fool others, but they cannot fool God. They may silence the voices of those they hurt, but they cannot silence the truth forever. What they built on lies will be torn down. What they gained through manipulation will be taken away. The people they controlled will see them for who they truly are. And in that moment, when their power crumbles and their deception is laid bare, they will understand that they were never untouchable. They were never above consequence. They were simply walking toward an inevitable reckoning. It is the nature of the proud to think they are beyond falling. But history, scripture, and life itself have shown that the ones who rise through deceit always fall through exposure. They may mock righteousness, dismiss warnings, and believe they are above judgment, but the truth remains. No one who exalts themselves above others will stand forever. When God humbles the arrogant, He does so completely, leaving no doubt that He alone is the final authority. The narcissist operates under the illusion that they are in control, that their actions carry no weight, that they can harm, deceive, and manipulate without consequence. They live as if the world revolves around them, as if they alone dictate the outcome of their schemes. But what they fail to see is that every seed they plant, every word, every action, every betrayal sets into motion a harvest that they cannot escape. God has established an unbreakable law in the fabric of existence. What a person sows, they will also reap. This is not merely a concept of morality. It is a divine principle woven into the very structure of life. The narcissist may believe they are immune to it, that they can twist the rules in their favor, that they can control the narrative, but they are only deceiving themselves. The longer they continue, the greater the weight of what they have sown. The deception they use against others will return upon them. The pain they inflict will revisit them. The destruction they create will surround them. They think they are winning when they manipulate. They believe they are securing their future when they deceive. They assume they are rising when they step on others to climb higher. But what they fail to recognize is that every action is a seed, and the ground of their own life is absorbing everything they have done. The judgment does not always come swiftly, but it always comes. Some seeds take time to grow, and for a season, it may seem as if nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the harvest is taking root. The longer they go unrepentant, the deeper the roots of their own destruction grow. What they build on manipulation will collapse under its own weight. The foundation of their success is unstable, and in time the very things they use to gain power will turn against them. They may gain wealth, but it will become a source of their misery. They may rise to influence, but it will expose them. They may secure relationships, but they will be surrounded by betrayal. They will experience what they have given. If they have sown lies, they will be consumed by deception. If they have spread pain, they will be overwhelmed by suffering. The narcissist believes they are escaping judgment, but in reality, they are walking deeper into it. They believe they are above the consequences, but they are only delaying the inevitable. The more they push forward in their ways, the greater the collapse will be when their harvest comes. The time between the sowing and the reaping is not a sign of escape, but a test of mercy. God gives them time to turn, time to change, time to awaken to the truth. But if they refuse, if they harden their hearts, if they persist in their ways, then what they have planted will come for them. They will look around one day and realize that everything they held on to is slipping from their grasp. Their plans will turn to dust. Their confidence will turn to fear. The people who once stood beside them will abandon them. They will reach for control and find nothing but emptiness. The world they created will become their prison, and no amount of manipulation will free them. The harvest will be inescapable, and when it comes, it will come with full measure. No one can sow destruction and expect peace. No one can plant deception and expect truth. No one can build a life on betrayal and expect loyalty. The narcissist's greatest deception is the one they tell themselves, that they are above the laws of sowing and reaping. But when the time of harvest arrives, there will be no escape, no excuse, no way out. They will receive exactly what they have given, and they will come to know that the justice of God cannot be avoided. The narcissist thrives on deception, weaving lies to manipulate, control, and elevate themselves at the expense of others. They twist reality to serve their desires, creating illusions to hide their true nature. They wear masks of charm, confidence, and power, convincing the world that they are untouchable. But truth is not something that can be buried forever. Lies may flourish for a time, but they cannot stand against the force of revelation. The moment always comes when the veil is lifted, when the illusion shatters, and when the truth is revealed for all to see. God is a God of truth, and no lie can remain hidden indefinitely in His presence. The narcissists may believe they have covered their tracks, that they have silenced those who speak against them, that they have rewritten reality to fit their own version of events. But deception carries a weight that grows heavier with time. Every lie spoken, every manipulation executed, every secret kept adds to the burden, and that burden is destined to break. What was done in darkness will be brought into the light. What was whispered behind closed doors will be shouted from the rooftops. The narcissist assumes they are the master of their own story, that they control the narrative. But truth has a way of breaking through even the most carefully constructed deceptions. It does not need human intervention to be revealed. It moves in ways unseen, setting into motion a chain of events that cannot be stopped. A single word spoken at the right time, an unexpected witness coming forward, an overlooked detail suddenly surfacing. God orchestrates moments of exposure in ways no human could predict. And when the truth comes forth, it does so with undeniable clarity, leaving no room for distortion. When the moment of exposure arrives, the narcissist's reaction is always the same. First, they deny. They claim it is a misunderstanding, an attack, a false accusation. They double down on their lies, believing they can outrun the inevitable. But the weight of the truth is relentless, and as it spreads, it chips away at their power. Those who once believed them begin to question. Those who once stood by them begin to step away. The empire they built on deceit starts to crumble, piece by piece, as the undeniable reality of who they are comes to the surface. The exposure does not come in a way they can control. It is never on their terms. It comes at the moment they least expect, through the avenue they never anticipated. The betrayal they committed against others returns upon them, and the people they deceive become the very ones who bring their lies to light. They may try to cover it up, to manipulate their way out, to create new lies to bury the old ones. But once the truth has been seen, it cannot be unseen. Once the mask has been removed, it cannot be put back on. They will watch as their carefully curated image dissolves before them. They will see the people they once deceived look at them with new eyes, no longer blinded by the illusion. Their influence will fade. Their words will lose power. Their reputation, once so carefully maintained, will fall apart, revealing the hollow core beneath it, and they will have no one to blame but themselves. What they tried so desperately to keep hidden will become the very thing that defines them. The truth they feared will be the truth that ultimately destroys them. No matter how strong a lie appears, no matter how convincing a deception seems, it cannot withstand the presence of divine truth. God is not mocked. He He allows deception to run its course for a season, but when the time comes, he moves in power. The narcissist, who built their world on lies, will find themselves stripped of everything, left standing in the blinding light of truth with nowhere to hide. The narcissist believes they are untouchable, that they can walk through life causing harm without ever facing consequences. They take advantage of others, break hearts, destroy trust, and manipulate every situation for their gain. They leave behind a trail of devastation, convinced that they will never answer for the pain they have inflicted. But what they fail to understand is that divine justice is not something they can escape. The same hands that lifted them up will be the hands that bring them down. The heights they have climbed through deception will become the depths of their downfall. God's justice is not always immediate, but it is always certain. The narcissist may enjoy a season of success, of power, of influence, but that season is not permanent. The higher they rise, the greater the fall that awaits them. Their actions do not disappear, they accumulate. Every betrayal, every lie, every instance of manipulation builds upon itself like a structure with no foundation. It may stand for a time, but the cracks are forming and the collapse is inevitable. They may feel invincible, but they are standing on unstable ground, and when it gives way, they will have nothing to hold on to. The downfall of the narcissist often begins in ways they do not even recognize. The very things they once used to control others start turning against them. Their words, once so persuasive, begin to lose their power. The people they manipulated start to see through them. The admiration they thrived on turns to suspicion. The control they once exercised slips through their fingers. They scramble to maintain their dominance. But the more they try to hold on, the faster everything falls apart. They believed they were in control, but they were never in control at all. Their arrogance blinds them to the warning signs. They ignore the shifts happening around them, dismiss the whispers of truth, refuse to acknowledge the consequences coming their way. They continue forward as if nothing is wrong, unaware that their own actions are leading them toward destruction. They believe they can outmaneuver judgment, that they can manipulate their way out of any situation. But when the moment arrives, they find themselves powerless. Their plans unravel, their schemes collapse. The same strategies they use to elevate themselves become the weapons of their own downfall. People who once defended them turn away. The ones who stood by them begin to see their true nature. The false power they built for themselves vanishes. They look around and realize they are alone. The illusion of strength they projected shatters, and for the first time they see the reality of what they have become. They may try to shift blame, to accuse others, to create new lies to cover the old ones, but the world no longer listens. Their words no longer carry weight. Their influence fades, and they are left with nothing but the consequences of their own actions. The higher they built themselves up, the harder they fall. The very things they used to destroy others become the things that destroy them. The same pride that fueled their rise ensures their collapse. The hands they pushed away are no longer there to catch them. The people they look down on now look down on them. The cycle of pain they created now engulfs them, and they are powerless to stop it. They cannot manipulate God's justice. They cannot escape the truth. They cannot rebuild what has been torn down. They are left to face the reality of who they are, and there is no one left to save them. The narcissist may believe they are above justice, but no one escapes the hand of God. Their deception, manipulation, and cruelty will not go unanswered. In His perfect timing, truth is revealed, illusions are shattered, and justice is served. Their own actions become their downfall, and the pain they inflicted returns upon them. The rise they once celebrated becomes the fall they cannot escape. But for those who have suffered, take heart. God sees, He knows, and He will restore. Trust in His justice. Walk in His light, and know that no darkness can stand against His truth.